Hey everyone, so I'm going to show you now how to get an unsubscribe set up. If you are running any kind of sequences, or even if you're not, you need to have an unsubscribe, a stop bot, whatever. So the first thing you want to do, and you can do it in ManyChat as well, but I use Chatfuel. So you're going to go into Set Up AI, and then I have a few different categories in here for AI things. Basically, whatever you type into here, when people type that, it will send them to wherever you, or it can say something, or it'll block, or you can have a bunch of them and it'll answer randomly with one of the blocks. So anyway, so I have one, I've got to restart one. I have a question. Are you a robot? I just, over time, I see what people type in sometimes and I add them. So I have an unsubscribe one. It's the most important one, and you should put one in the second you build your bot. So anytime anybody types in unsubscribe, stop, please stop sending me messages, please stop, unsubscribe, blah, 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 anything like any of that stuff there. And I should probably add some because it's pretty exact. If it's not capitalized or the way it is in here, it won't work. So you got to add a lot of different options, and I maybe should add a few more in there, but I don't have a ton of people unsubscribing anyway. If you're not spamming the crap out of people, you shouldn't have a huge problem with it. But anyway, you do want to have it in there. So especially if you're testing something, sometimes when I test stuff, it'll be a little bit more aggressive, and I'll have some people unsubscribing, and then I'll back it off a little bit. So anyway, you create it, you put all your different terms in there, and you can always come back and add some more, and then I'm going to send it to a block of unsubscribe. Now, you had to have already set up this unsubscribe block to send it there, obviously. So let me just find my unsubscribe block. So it'll send it to it. You can't send to a sequence, so you have to send to a block. So I have a block called unsubscribe. It'll send it to that. And immediately the unsubscribe will subscribe them to a sequence. That's all it does. And then the sequence down here will send them immediately, again, mass broadcast. It will unsubscribe them from every single sequence. Now you can add filters, so if they came from a first-time buyer unsubscribe or something, and you only want them unsubscribed from the first-time buyer sequence, that's fine. But to keep it simple, I just have one unsubscribe that unsubscribes them from everything. I don't care if they signed in for something else and I'm sending them something unrelated. If they don't want me to send them messages, I don't want to send them messages. So anyway, so I put every single sequence in here. So you got to remember, if you're going to do it this way, every time you add a sequence for something, you have to go back to your unsubscribe and add in the sequence. So if anybody types in unsubscribe, otherwise, if they were in, say, the 5 legal forms sequence, and those people typed in unsubscribe, and I didn't have that in here, it would unsubscribe them from all these other ones, but it wouldn't from that one. So they'd still keep getting them, which would be against policy, or at least my policy. So I want to make sure every single one is in there. So they'll get unsubscribed from every single thing they possibly could get unsubscribed from. It'll set a user attribute of unsubscribed, so I can go back into my people tab, and I'll show you that later. I like to delete people completely out of there after they unsubscribe, so there's no confusion or accidentally messaging them. And then the message, after the bot does all that stuff, little picture of Will Ferrell crying. You could use anything else. I'm going to change that probably to a robot crying of some sort. I'm working on some animated stuff with a robot. So that'll change probably. We're sad to see you go, yada, yada, yada. And probably I like to leave them with a few links. If they want to stop in and sign into my home search or something, that's fine. And you could have them go to your main menu, or start over, or resubscribe, or have links go to wherever you want. So you could change that up however you like, but definitely sign up hook up an unsubscribe, a stop bot, and all that stuff. And I also usually on my landings, on most of my ad landings, there will be this one probably has it, open house, ad landing, It usually always has this right at the beginning of most ad landings. I have that in the first message or something like that, depending on what the ad is. But a lot of times I do it because we're in real estate, what we do, and we need to be way up front and let people get out. And especially if it's their first time using the bot, you want them to know what's going on here. So I have that in there, and it's not in every message every time. It's just in there. So we're going, and it's got the privacy policy in there. So anytime anybody types that, it'll happen. So maybe I'll test the unsubscribe for you. I'll show you how mine goes. Huh, I don't even have a link for it. Unsubscribe, that's fine. Whoops, take me to it. Here we can see it pops up. We're sad to see you go. Let us, yada, yada, yada. But if I just type stop bot, it would happen. Or if I type unsubscribe, it'll happen. And in my menu, I don't have it in there, but you could have an unsubscribe in your menu if you wanted to. So that's how to do that. You want to have your unsubscribe. And then now let's also, if you go into your people tab, if you pay for your bot, you'll have access to the people tab, and you can start that for as low as $15 with Chat Fuel. And ManyChat is probably about the same. And I don't sell that or anything, so that's not a plug or anything. That's just what it is, I think. And it's tiered by the users, the number of users you have signed in. So usually, so I'll say attribute is unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. Anyone in there? That's me. I was just testing it. This person unsubscribed. So I want to delete that person altogether from my bot. And I don't know why it always does that. It doesn't remove it from there. And if I see it in there later or something, I will delete it, because you can delete it via your phone, and in the app you can kind of check mark it and delete people in there as well. Or you can just, when you send broadcasts, not include anybody that has the attribute of unsubscribe as well. So that's the way to do it. And I like to delete people out of there so there's no confusion. Make sure you have an unsubscribe to give people that option, and try not to spam people too much. Make sure your content is cool and people want to see it. Don't send it too much. Just figure out what people want, what your audience likes, and give them that stuff. So hopefully they're not hitting that unsubscribe too much. So hopefully this helps. Later.